All right, so moving into this week's assignment is going to be the level design map, right? And this is going to be the first pass. So you'll see that this is just the first pass to where you want to do your best work here. You want to try and get as much down on paper as you can. And the first pass is 10% of your grade. So from there, right, we'll be going over and giving you some feedback, myself or your instructor. We'll also have opportunities to meet and go over any questions or issues that you're having or any concerns you have with what you want to work on next. So after the first pass, you'll have all that time. You'll have another week to review that feedback. Your peers are going to look at your map, and then you can work on the final pass, which is 25%. So, you know by now design is an iterative process. I'm sure what you turned in for your LDD is already going to start to change and evolve as you get into the flowchart and the map assignment. So once you get your map feedback, you get even more time to make improvements and changes and then submit it again for the final. So do your best work here. Try and get it to the quality that you want it to, and then we always have time to improve and make it better from there. All right, so before we jump into the base requirements for our assignment, let's first take a look at some industry maps that we can pull from to get inspired by and just know that this is the end goal of what we want to try to achieve. So I know everyone in the course is, might be new to level design in terms of have maybe never built a level before, and that's okay, right? What we wanted to see throughout the month is just progression and improvement, right? If your first map is not as strong, right, maybe you have some issues you want to address, but then your second attempt is better, right? That is what I want to see. Is I want to see that improvement from the beginning to the end of the month. So if anyone doesn't know what this might be, maybe you have some guesses. This is a map from Halo, right? So what's really great about this, and a lot of the references we can look at are going to be from team deathmatch or multiplayer type games, to where we can get those specific references and those specific examples right from the industry, right? So the layout here is what we want to really focus on. Right, so pay attention to the wall thickness, right? All around the border and all through the level, you see the thickness of the geometry. This is very helpful for us because any one of us, right? Any one of us in the class could bring this into Unity and start to actually build this, right? We could lay out the walls right where the walls are showing, right? Put the stairs or put slope objects or wedges where these are. The colors also help signify height, so we know that it looks like what they're going for is the lighter colors are lower, right? And as we climb up, these are the darker is a higher point. So we can all bring this into Unity, and for the most part, everyone should end up with the same end result, right? Everyone should have the same map in the end. That's going to be your goal as the designer. So really focus that this shows a really great example of a blueprint. Right, think of your map as a 2D top-down representation of what you want to build inside of 3D, right? So it should be a blueprint. You should be starting to take into account of, things from an architecture standpoint. All right, here's another industry example, right? This is from Call of Duty. And what's really nice about this example here is some of the ways that they're communicating information, right? So in the example for Halo, I really like the overall layout and how they're using the tool, and they're using this as a blueprint to show architecture. This one over here in the Call of Duty example, they do a great job of communicating where the player can get to and how they can transition from different areas, right? So you'll see down here all of these spaces, right? We have the greenhouse second level, we have the barbershop second level, the ice cream shop second level. All of these are vertical elements within the map, right? They've been using in their legend, right? We have our legend of our own, but you can see they've used the color white to signify unplayable areas, right? So what that means is these buildings you can't get inside of, but here you can see the ice cream shop, the crack house, the soccer field, the bar, right? All of these buildings you can get into on the inside. So you'll see they're also using, besides just that white color, they're using ladders, and they're using this arrow, the green arrows that represent up, right? So that basically represents these are stairs, and at this point you've climbed up and reached the second level, right? So as an example here, we've got the ice cream shop, right? Here are those stairs, and now that arrow leads up and is in that same location. So keep in mind with this, if we were to take this shape, right, this second floor of the ice cream shop, and physically drag it right over the top and put it on top of this ice cream shop, it would line up and be the same dimensions, and that green arrow will be in the exact same location, right? They will be overlapping right on top of each other. And the same thing goes for all these others, right? The laundromat, right? This green arrow will line up right here, and then this green arrow will line up right here. So they've done a really good job of breaking off the vertical elements and communicating where they line up and where they actually physically connect. You'll see artistically, right, they have a lot of detail. Like you can see, like in the ice cream shop, you can almost see the tile floor, and then the bar, you can see the tile. We don't need to go to that extreme, right? We can keep it simple and clean like the Halo example. So each one of these maps have different takeaways and different things that you can point out from, as well as examples that you might find on your own or other student examples. Each one is doing something well or several things well, and you can take away from that and apply all that you've learned into your own piece. All right, so moving on to the next example, these two right here are actually, I would like to include these because these, to me, feel like they are very much accomplishable inside of Google Draw, which is where we're going to be building our map. So again, these are two Halo these are two maps from a Halo game, but these aren't directly from Bungie or 343 Studios. These are fan made, right? So what these were is there was an MLG tournament that had created pamphlets for fans, or they had live attendees that were there, that they handed out pamphlets that the fans could look at the maps and look at who was on each team and all those details about the tournament. But inside the pamphlets were these maps, right? And these were just fan created maps. But these right here are a great layout and show you just the overall plan of the level itself. Again, we could bring one of these into Unity, and everyone would end up with basically the exact same end result, because this is the same floor plan, right? So we can see along the edge we have rocks and objects, debris, to showcase that the play space is contained. That's something we'll also be talking about going forward. In here you can see the details of the buildings and the overall structures. Again, these labels and other things are their way of communicating. We're going to have our own specific ways, but just focus on the detail and the overall layout. Again, I know this is might be your first time making a map, but these are the things you want to get inspired by and pull from as reference. Look at what they're doing right. Look at how they're communicating different pieces of information and apply that to your own work. So yeah, again, over here in the longbow, you can see, again, great examples of wall thickness. This actually matters for us a lot when we're going to build things inside of Unity, to have actual dimensions and blueprints planned out. As well as both of these examples show a great use of terrain, which is going to be one thing that everyone will be required to include in their map, which we're going to talk about. But here you can see the two different colors, right? We have the green and the brown, represent maybe two different textures, two different materials, as well as over here we have the snow and the other uncovered parts to showcase different pathways and different trails. So really, really good examples to hopefully get you inspired and motivated to work on your own project.